Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am the Southern Wrestling Scholar, ZJ Pierce. I'm the host of the Nerdz Watching Wrestling podcast, and this is Quick React, and today we are talking about the March 17th, 2026 episode of NXT. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. I hope y'all had a good one. NXT was pretty straight this week. We had 3 championship matches with all the women's titles being on the line. We had some fun 6-man action, a little bit of drama mixed in here and there, and a banger of a steel cage match. If y'all ready to talk about it, let's get into it. Tag me in. So the night starts off with Sol Ruca, Zarya, and Jacy Jayne in a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship, and this was a very fine match. Very good for TV for what it was. Obviously, the story here is still Zarya versus Sol Ruca. Jacy Jayne did low-key play a little bit of an afterthought in the match to those two, with that even playing into the finisher. As Sol will hit the Soul Snatcher on Jacy Jayne, but he gets pulled out of the ring by Zarya, who would then hit the F5 on Sol Ruca on the outside, throwing her back into the ring. But this would allow Fatal Influence to get distraction on Zarya, and while she was attacking Fatal Influence, while Zarya was attacking Fatal Influence, Jacy Jayne would pin Sol Ruca to retain the NXT Women's Championship. Later in the night, Sol Ruca says that she wants to see Zarya face-to-face next week, so this will end. But congratulations to Jacy Jayne. She's going to stand and deliver with the title. Good on her. Next, Ricky Starks comes out and said things are looking up for him and Ethan Page now that they're back on the same page. Look at that. I made a little rhyme. And especially since they defeated Joe Hendry and Miles Bourne last week, meaning they are back on track to Ethan and Ricky both becoming 2-time champions. This then brings out Ethan Page, who reminds Mickie Saints that Ethan pinned Joe Hendry in that match last week. And now he doesn't want to be a 2-time North American champion. He wants to be a 2-time NXT champion. This then leads to the aforementioned NXT champion, Joe Hendry, because say his name and he appears. And he attempts to stir the tension between Ethan and Ricky, even bringing up the fact that last year that Ricky and Ethan faced each other at Stand and Deliver, and it was in fact Ethan Page who took the North American Championship from Ricky Saints. But they said they're on the same page now, and that doesn't matter, so they both attack Joe Hendry, with Joe Hendry actually laying both Ethan Page and Ricky Saints out. But then all 4 men will be targeted by Tony D'Angelo. He gave out his warning last week. Tony D'Angelo is ready for the NXT Championship. Next, the Vanity Project of the NXT Tag Team Champions, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes, and the WWE Evolved Men's Champion, Jackson Drake, took on Los Americanos, Rayo Bravo, and the Louis Kaiser variant of El Grande Americano, and just a very fun 6-man tag team match. Alright, a lot of great spots here, but once again, can we stop this? Like, can Pete Dunne be Pete Dunne? Can Tyler Bate be Tyler Bate? And can we just hurry up and get to the mask versus mask match between Gable and Kaiser? Like, can we? Like, I get it. Like, I guess it's something for AAA, but like, I'm completely over this. But like I said, very fun match. The Americanos won when the Kaiser variant hit Ricky Smokes with the loaded headbutt. Next, it was Booker T Appreciation Night, as Vic Joseph came out and gave a very lovely speech for Booker T. He was joined by Queen Charmel, the kids, some of the students from Reality of Wrestling, and he got a very nice video package showcasing his career from WCW all the way up to his commentary career. All the people he's helped through commentary, people like Jacy Jayne, Stephanie Vaquer, Trick Williams, like everyone showed their appreciation. All that was then quickly interrupted by Keanu Carver, who says he's tired of Jasper Troy running his mouth, and Keanu Carver starts to lay out some of the Reality of Wrestling students. This leads to Jasper Troy ultimately coming out and make the save, and we give Booker T his standing ovation on the stage. Very good stuff. Very classy. Next, Fallon Henley defends her Women's Speed Championship against Ren Sinclair in a match with a 5-minute time limit. These two went back and forth with Ren trying to lock in a submission on Fallon Henley's injured shoulder because she was attacked by Zarya in the match earlier in the night. With her ultimately succeeding to lock in the final wrench, aka counter mutilation, to tap out Fallon Henley and become the new women's speed champion. Good for the Ren QCC. Speaking of no catch quarter catch crew, the Birthright, they're a thing now, and they took on Hank and Tank in the number one contenders tag team tournament. And like I said, this match really wasn't nothing to write home about. Uriah Connors and Stats got the win with a roll up. Like even with Hank and Tank being in the ring, there was little to save this match. It was just by the book. Sorry, not sorry. Backstage, we find out that Dark State attacked OTM in the parking lot. Ethan Page suggests that we should have Tony D'Angelo versus Ricky Saints next week, which Robert Stone likes. And he also sets up the North American Championship number one contenders Gauntlet Eliminator match for next week, with the winner of that facing Miles Bourne and Stand and Deliver. And in the main event, we have Izzy Dame challenging Tatum Paxley for the Women's North American Championship, and this was a very good match. Started with some very heated action as Izzy Dame would attack Tatum before she got in the cage, bringing the steel chair in the ring, having her way with her with the steel chair. We got a off the cage superplex. They had a nice little back and forth on top of the cage. Just a very fun steel cage match. And it looked like Izzy Dame almost got the win after she hit the code breaker, and as Tatum Paxley was reversing out of it, doing a little slow, Izzy Dame would hit the boot and the eye drive for a very close near fall. But as she went to powerbomb Tatum Paxley onto the chair, Tatum would reverse that into a sunset flip powerbomb of her own, throw the chair at Izzy Dame and catch her with a rolling Liger kick, and hit the cemetery drive to pin Izzy Dame and retain the title. Very good on Tatum Paxley. I'm so glad she just wasn't going to be a one-and-done champion with the North American title. And the feud with Izzy Dame is done. But as she's celebrating on the ramp, she is then attacked from underneath and drugged to hell by Blake Monroe, who then poses with the Women's North American Championship and descends back down herself. And that was the St. Patrick's Day episode of NXT. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if I can leave you with anything today, I'm going to leave you with 2 Thessalonians 3:16. May the Lord of peace himself give you his peace at all times and in every situation. Our God is not only a God of love, he is a God of peace. And I pray that he continues to put his perfect peace over all of you guys who are watching this. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, I have been the Southern Wrestling Scholar. Be on the lookout for the latest episode of Nerdz Watching Wrestling with me and some very special guests. Go into some deep diving on AEW Revolution as well as the Cody Rhodes heel turn. Until then, I'll see you next time.